Mozilla is a free software community founded in 1998 with the mission of building a better internet. As more people around the globe use the internet, Mozilla thinks everyone should have a browser that speaks their native language, and that's why the Firefox web browser supports 99 languages worldwide. The process of supporting all these languages is called localization. Localization is a hard problem. That's because languages are simply so different from each other. Some handle syntax and sentence structure differently. Some have different pluralization rules, and some even read right to left across the page. In order to make localization better for everyone, Mozilla has created a localization framework called Project FLUENT. FLUENT is a brand new way of thinking about localization, and it takes a modern approach to the complexities of the problem. It enables better workflows for developers and localizers, which are less prone to bugs. For end users, it allows instant switching between languages, instead of requiring a browser restart. This semester, our team leveraged the power of Project FLUENT to bring its benefits to the configuration and setting pages for the Firefox web browser. Let's take a look at how our project might benefit an end user of Firefox who wants to change their language.
For the user, the biggest change is going to be with the ease of language switching within the browser application. Here we have our user, Jack Song, a student who would like to change the language pack to one he is more comfortable working with. Let's take a look at the current method of language switching within the Firefox browser. Right now, the user has to search for a list of steps online. These steps are long, tedious, and require the user to access configuration pages within the browser. Because of the time consumed through this process, let's speed up the video and get to the end, where the user finally has changed the format to their desired language. Finally, the user has completed the process after more than 6 minutes of complicated work. Now, let's see how the implementation of our project affects this process. The goal of our project is to allow the user to switch languages by simply downloading the add-on for one. Once downloaded, the add-on will activate and translate all in-content pages that the user visits. Since this feature is not implemented in the final build of Firefox just yet, there is one change we need to make in the configuration page. However, in the future, it will be as simple as download and activate.
So, how does this all work? Before our project, many localized strings were stored in DTD files. When a user went to load a page, the markup for that page had the strings from the DTD files substituted into it. That markup was then rendered to create the document that the user sees. When a user interacts with the page, say, by clicking a button, that action is handled by the associated JavaScript code. That code would retrieve strings as necessary from a .properties file and insert them back into the document. Let's say that the user wants to switch languages. Well, there's no easy way to do it with this system. We have to start over from scratch, and the user is going to lose any of the work that they've done so far. After our project, all of these pages use FLUENT, and that means that all the localized strings are in one FTL file. When the user loads a page, just as before, the markup is rendered to create a document. But this time, the browser looks for special attributes in that document that tell it where to insert our localized strings. Now, when the user interacts with the document, all the JavaScript has to do is edit those attributes, and FLUENT takes over and handles the rest for us. When the user wants to switch languages, it's as simple as swapping out one file, and FLUENT takes care of the rest.
Now that we know how the localization process is done, let's take a look at the folk who are in charge of implementing it as a part of their jobs. Here we have Colin Wing, a developer, and Jim Lennon, a localizer. Both are working on the Firefox codebase to ensure that FLUENT is implemented correctly, and both have great things to say about the new system.
As a developer, working with FLUENT is really awesome. The benefits of FLUENT come from having a strong contract between the developers of a feature and the localizers of the related strings. These translated strings have different rules and different syntax, and it's incredibly important that the logic of each language stays away from the application code. Fluent makes this a rule, not just best practice. Fluent makes me confident that all the work I do is correct, no matter what language the user chooses. I can focus more on good application code and hand off all the strings to the localizers.
As a localizer, one thing I love about Fluent is that all the strings for a page are in one file. Before, I have to learn both the .dtd and .property syntaxes. Now, I only need to know one syntax in one file. Fluent also gives me more options to modify a string based on its context, reuse phrases and terms, and use powerful built-in functions for formatting. Because of the strong contract between the developer and I don't have to worry as much about the application logic, and I know exactly how my strings will be displayed. This allows me to make perfect translations for any page, translations that I know will make sense for the user. Thanks to the migration scripts created by the development team, I don't have to redo any of the translations I did using the previous system. Thanks to Fluent, I can hit the ground running.
One of the coolest parts of Fluent is that it's open source, meaning that anyone can use Fluent and add to Fluent's capabilities. Mozilla is hoping this collaboration will help build a more accessible software worldwide.
Mozilla is one of many companies paving the way for a more connected and personal internet experience. Their work will allow many users across the world to feel comfortable using a tool that is becoming more of a necessity every day. Because of this, we would like to thank you, Mozilla.
ありがとう Mozilla。
谢谢 Mozilla。
Gracias, Mozilla.
Grazie Mozilla.
Shukriya Mozilla.